button here and get going. So welcome everybody to week 4. Let me share my screen. Coming slowly. There we are. So there's Ralphie welcoming everybody. Thank you for being here. It's great having people who are live during these seminars. Appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to be here with us. So before we get going, we just want to know kind of how you are feeling. So I never tried this before. I embedded a poll everywhere poll right into a Google slide. So if this fails, then it's a learning opportunity for everybody here. So let's go to pollev.com, bharrison426, and just tell us how you're feeling. This is going to be a word cloud. So as you type in a word, could be scared, could be overwhelmed, whatever word you type in, as those words are, the more times those words are repeated, the bigger those words are going to get. And the words that you type in, they start forming into this word cloud. So if you want to type in, go to pollev.com, bharrison426, or you can text in, if not on a computer, text bharrison426 to
Brandon,
the number 27333.
You're going to have to display it, Brandon. It's saying it's not displayed yet.
Oh, not displayed? Wow, it should be displaying. Hold on.
I do that all the time, too. I'm glad I'm not alone.
No. See, epic filming. This is why we do this. Tony, where do I display it at? What am I at? Right. Well, maybe it's going to not work.
It's telling me as soon as Brandon displays a poll, we'll update the area and give you voting options.
Where do I?
Will you
I can't find it here.
Let's see. Can you go back to your poll everywhere screen and let me? You're sharing the screen. Go back to your poll everywhere screen. Let me take a peek and kind of boss you around, Brandon.
No, please do. So there's my poll.
There's your poll, good. And go to polls in the upper left-hand corner, just above the, click on that. And then, how are you feeling? Yeah, click on the little
box there?
Yes, and then go ahead and share. See where it says share?
Share, see? It's just
and then one more thing, that little 3, let's see, share, I apologize. See that little, go ahead and click done. And then that little kind of link, green link to the no responses, to the left of the no responses. Will you click on that? And one more time on that. Okay, now I'm hoping that's, there it is, yay!
Oh, okay, see? We learn as we go. So Tony loves Poll Everywhere. This is my first time really using Pollev, so there's other ones I've used before, but this embeds into a Google slide.
That's cool.
The other ones I've used do not embed. So we'll see how this works now. So again, now, how are you feeling? pollev.com/bharrison426. Tell us how you are feeling so we can get an idea of what's going on here with things.
Busy, yep.
Busy. So remember when you're trying to mute your mic when you come on? That'd be good. So let's get an idea for us to see how you are feeling. This is still going to be live, so if you haven't jumped on yet and do this, pollev.com/bharrison426. We will come back to this slide when we get done. So feel free to continue to post on this Pollev. So it worked pretty good, just embedding this Pollev into a Google slide. Tony, I'd never done this before. Have you done this before?
I haven't put it into a slide. I think that's wonderful. I'm proud of you.
It's just a Chrome extension you have to get, and then it just puts it right in there.
It's coming. That's great.
It's coming. Looking good. Stressed. if it's any consolation, we fill all these things also as your instructors. So I said, keep doing that word cloud. We'll come back to that one. Any concerns or questions or longing fears that you would like to express right now? I don't have chat viewing, so if Tony or Carol, if anything comes in chat-wise, let us know. If not, unmute your mic and share anything that's on your mind if you would like to. No one's unmuting, so I think that might be good. We'll just go on then for the week. If there's anything that comes up, please let us know. Unmute your mic, type it in the chat, and we will try to answer it for you. Your assignments for this week, pretty straightforward. You're reading chapter 3 on the next slide. I'll look at that with you. The supplemental, it's a PowerPoint presentation. I think there's 20 some odd slides in this PowerPoint presentation on integrating educational technology into teaching. Really quick to look at. There's not much reading on these slides. This may be informational for you. You may find it useful. Your discussion this week is looking at the using instructional software that look at drill and kill or drill and practice. So you're going to give your impressions about the drill and kill philosophies and if technology is helping or hindering with that. So that's your discussion. This has been great. I know in my section, everyone is posting their initial post early and responding with 2 or more posts. So thanks for doing that. Remember to get those additional posts in with your peers to respond and comment and give great feedback to them. Your assignment this week is you are creating a video of your teaching philosophy with how integrating technology fits into your teaching philosophy. So this may be something you have to revisit. You've created a philosophy years ago in college or other things in teaching, but now with technologies at the forefront of what we are doing as teachers, your philosophy may have changed or may have to change with technology and integration. So that is your assignment this week. Anyway, you want to create your video and you will just submit that on your assignments. There is a link on that assignment page of a philosophy survey. Encourage you to look at that if you would like to, in order to give you some ideas of how to maybe pinpoint your philosophy or fine-tune your philosophy when it comes down to all of this. For your reading, you're looking at establishing classroom rules and procedures. So this goes back to week 2 presentations 4 and 5 of the elements. Talked about this. The one quote in the book, technology offers engaging techniques for presenting rules and procedures, as well as ways in which students can demonstrate their understandings of them. I'd like to take a few minutes if anyone would like to share what technology you are using for doing this, for your classroom rules or procedures. Anyone like to share with the rest of us what's working or not working with in your classrooms? Can technology help with classroom rules and procedures?
Brandon, something I did back when I taught 5th and 6th grade is I had the kids actually pose to kind of show what the classroom rule, either doing the rule or not doing the rule, and I would just do that with digital photography. So it was a digital representation of the classroom rules and procedures. And yes, I do think that technology can help with that.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else? Don't like unmuting your mic. If something comes to mind as we continue on this evening, please jump in and share. There's some questions there to think about. as you look at the chapter, and these are brought up again as you read. So technology into what you're doing and maintaining your classroom rules and procedures. Any questions for your assignments this week, your readings, your discussion, or your philosophy creation? Pretty straightforward with it. In looking at, in my section, some of the portfolios, just a couple review reminders I like to just point out, and Tony, Carol, you may have these same things going on. So your digital portfolio is different than a classroom website. So you may have a classroom website already created, or you're going to create a classroom website using a Weebly or a Google site, which is great to do. This is different. This is where you are going to deposit your assignments, your artifacts from this course. So it's not something you're going to share necessarily with your students and their parents, but something for you to keep your things together and to share with others in the class to give you feedback with that. The next slide, we'll look at what's going to be required in this portfolio. For the week 2 assignments, there's 2 parts to this, as Carol mentioned when she talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Part A, you submit your link to your instructor, and then Part B, there is a peer review form where you also post the link to your portfolio to your website. And then as part of the week 9 assignment, or before week 9, others in the class will go through and review your portfolio and give you feedback on it. So there's 2 parts to week 2. So if you haven't done both parts, jump in and do both of those. I'm about 2 weeks behind grading my assignment, so that's why I just noticed this just recently on my side. So anything you want to add, Tony or Carol, with this?
I think you're right on. That sounds you're right there.
Right. This is we saw this already. You've seen this already. This slide, but your portfolio will include your philosophy. You're doing that today, or this week. You're doing your philosophy, so that will be linked or embedded in your website on your portfolio, and then these artifacts that we will be creating. Week 3, you did your digital citizenship poster and presentation. So the reflections with those artifacts also. So projects with reflections, and then as we get going, we'll talk more about the transformation statement, learning journey, and anything else that you want to throw in your portfolio just to cap things just there. So that is the portfolio review. A couple other things that I've noticed on my side with your, especially your week 3 assignment, really is where this started. You create your assignment, you created your net safety presentation, your net safety presentation. Once you've created that, you need to share that with students and with a colleague. So it's not just creating this presentation, but you're actually presenting it somehow to some students. It may not be classroom students, it may be some neighbors, maybe your own children, maybe some kids, some students, and a colleague. So you're presenting your assignment twice, and then after you do that, you will write up a short reflection on how the creation process went, the feedback from a colleague, the interaction or the comments from students when you present it to them. So there's really different parts with your assignments, not just the creation, but the sharing it with students and colleagues, getting their feedback, and a reflection.
And Brandon, that's happened this week with this last week's assignment. Boy, I was very, very impressed with my learners' reflections and reporting of what their peers said. They were quite surprised. Many were quite surprised with some of what their peers had to share, and I thought that was very powerful.
Yeah. You can get a lot from teacher down the hall or from someone else. They have valuable feedback that they can provide, especially those who may have gone through some of the things that we're going through in this course, learning some tools or how you're going to address these aspects of digital citizenship in the classroom. So getting that feedback from colleagues, very valuable.
And Brandon, there's just one comment came up in the chat that in Canvas it said students or colleagues. Let me take a peek. How do you feel about that?
Whatever it says, I thought it said but to take a look at it and see, and we can.
I thought it said or as well. So
okay.
or a colleague, but either way, you still need to have the reflection added
Yeah.
to your assignment. So just make sure that you do it, is my opinion. So
Okay. All right. So if it's or, then we'll change that to or. So I apologize for and. So students or colleague, but have that reflection portion. That's an important part of this assignment. So if you haven't done the reflection, make sure you do that reflection with everything. So thanks, Tony and Carol, for that. So let's jump into the element presentations here. Christine, Stephanie, are you with us tonight? Can't remember who told me they were going to be here or not be here. Christine said she wasn't going to be here, I know. So they've set their things separately to us, and each are about 2.5 minutes long. So we're watch this one first with Christine, and these have worked pretty good when I watched them earlier.
Hi, my name is Christine Naylor, and I am presenting the first part of this presentation. So it's number 10, which is helping students process new information. So we've talked about chunking information, taking what we're teaching and breaking it up into chunks that are like bite-sized chunks so that the students can be able to process little bits of information at a time. So with that, even with the small chunks of information, it is important for students to actively process that information. So we as teachers can stimulate that process by having our students summarize and clarify their understanding of the new information. And so the text talks about the collaborative processing, and this being a way where our students can summarize and digest the information. So basically, collaborative processing or group processing is a great way for students to summarize and clarify the new information chunks they are learning. There's research that this definitely is an effective way. It helps students to be able to learn to collaborate better, and also it helps them definitely understand the information that they are learning. So the process that they suggest is basically breaking the students up into groups of 3, and you have student A, B, and C, and then the information is presented by the teacher. And so the small chunk of information is presented, and member A of the group summarizes that information, and then B and C add to anything that they think needs to be added to what A summary is. Then all 3 group members point out what they're confused about with this information. And then with this, the teacher is then able to explain and clear up any confusion that the students have. And then with this process, the teacher then asks the students to predict what they may think the next chunk of information is about. And then after they do that, then the teacher teaches the new chunk of information. And then there's this rotation that takes place. So instead of A summarizing, B will summarize, and then A and C will add to that. So there's like a rotation with each chunk of information. A different person summarizes, and so everybody gets a chance to take their turn with this. So that, I think, is basically it for my part. Jennifer's taking the next part. So thank you.
All right, jump in here to the next one.
So I'm going to be talking about polling and screencasts and how that can help students process chunks of new information. So polling and screencasts can help them. The book talks about different ways. One way that polling technology can enhance collaborative processing is by increasing the number of students who respond to a question and by making those responses visible. And so we've kind of seen this in our seminars with last week's seminar where Tony had us do the poll everywhere, and you can see people's responses come up. So what they want the students to do is to take that information and then to analyze it. So before lesson, have students work in groups as they answer questions, and then they'll split their answers using clickers They can use mobile devices, or they can use clickers that have text function. So those are just some of the things we talked about them doing. And then they're going to take those responses that they got, and they're going to analyze them together. So students then use the polling data to summarize each chunk, add to, amend, or modify their understanding of each chunk, and generate predictions about the next chunk in the learning sequence. And so they can decide maybe what else they're going to learn, and then do different things. Another way they can do this is by students can also summarize understanding of each chunk by capturing narrating a screencast. So they can take that new chunk of information, and then they can make it into a slideshow, or do Screencastify or Screencast-O-Matics, or just a couple of the ones that are out there that they can use. And then they can also add notes and diagrams in their recordings to make the information more available. And then this also can be shared with other students, so it can also help them with their learning, so they're helping each other with their learning. And then have the book goes on to say, have students review and analyze their peer screencasts. So have them look at it, have a rubric maybe, or a scoring guide or skills to take notes of new perspectives or opinions or background knowledge and problem-solving strategies, and then have them provide feedback. And you can provide feedback again by using the polling software with the clickers or text input or mobile devices. And then it says to make sure, it warns us to encourage students to share constructive comments, because you want to foster a sense of contribution in the classroom and not negative feelings. We want this to be a positive experience for everyone. And then lastly, it talks about publishing student-created screencast tutorials online to motivate students to produce high-quality work. So it talks about having this available on websites, maybe your web page that you might have for parents to see, and so that they know that somebody is going to be looking at this and not just your teacher and their peers, and maybe motivate them to take this seriously and to do high-quality work. And that is polling and screencasting.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. That was great. Jill and Amy, number 11, helping students elaborate new info. They did send it to me, and for some reason that link is still not working. It says it's still processing. It's been all afternoon, so I'll just bring it over here and do it this way. I will get that link fixed here eventually.
Jill Talbot and I are going to present for element 11, helping students elaborate on new information. So questioning is required to help students process new information. This is questioning that the teacher needs to be prepared with, and it needs to help the students to achieve a higher level of thinking. So there's two types of questions. There's general inferential questions, and there's elaborative interrogation. We're going to talk about both of those. So general inferential questions is broken into two categories: default questions and reasoned inference questions. So a default question requires the student to draw upon or default to his or her background knowledge to find the answer. And then a reasoned inference question asks the students to use his or her reasoning to draw conclusions or make predictions about information based on evidence found in information that's presented by the teacher. So the first example is that you would use a polling technology to have students make inferences. One example is Nearpod. That's something that's being used a lot right now. It's a great online tool to accomplish this. So Nearpod will allow students to anonymously answer the question, and this is very important that the students feel like they're in a safe environment, especially when the information is just being learned and they don't fully understand it yet. You can't have it feel like a test or like it's going to count on the student's grade. But as teachers, it's really valuable to get that information to see how well the students are understanding what's being taught. All student answers can be viewed by the class, but again, it's anonymous, so there's really no There's really no fear of answering. And then the teacher can discuss inferential answers to help clarify and enhance learning without students being identified. So the teachers can kind of break down the answers that were given, but you're not picking out any one student. So it's a great way to have an open discussion about the content that's being learned. And then the other example is to ask an unusual or intriguing question to prompt students to make inferences. So one thing you could do is, if you have a document camera, you could magnify an object to the point that it's not recognized. For example, a part of a plant. And you use that to ask two questions, such as, what does the object look like, and what do you think the object is? So students would then use some type of polling technology to respond to the questions about the object or make predictions about the nature of the objects. Students also share their reasoning behind their answers based on background knowledge. And then this technique was used in the movie Soul Surfer. So you could show a clip of that movie, and that could also be used to help the students understand how to respond. So elaborative interrogation, that's where the teacher is probing for clarification to get a more accurate idea of where the students are. So the questions will ask the students to provide evidence. So the students can't guess so much, they have to support their answers. And then students may classify information into categories. This is where things like sorting would come in. And then students may explain a cause and effect relationship. So really, the students are backing up what their answers are and why they're answering it that way. And then bringing in technology to present what the students have learned is a great way to have the students, show what was learned. So like multimedia presentations, they could make a documentary using primary sources. They could use programs and apps, and some of the examples would be Gene, ScreenChomp, EduCreations, TouchCast, or Google Drive. And then students can publish their findings on blogs, wikis, or websites. This would also be a great thing that then students could share with each other. So students are watching each other's projects and gain even more knowledge from those projects. So thank you for watching. That's the end of our presentation.
All right. Coming down. Lonnie and Heather.
Okay, I'm here. This is Heather. So if you can let me share my screen.
Yep, I will stop sharing. If you put your cursor over there'll be some things that pop up over some little round circles, and we will.
I see the circles, but I don't see a share screen on the end.
You see an arrow pointing up next to the camera. Yep. Click on that, and then you can choose what you want right there. And I'll mute myself, and you can just go ahead.
Okay, can you see the slideshow? Are we there? Okay. So Kalulani and I are reporting element 12, which is helping students to represent knowledge. And they went over 3 points. There's the informal outlines, academic notebooks, and then the dramatic enactments and unconventional projects. So here's a couple of examples of some paper outlines. This is for a Wax Museum biography report that my 5th grade classes did. The teachers gave their students this outline to fill out as they were researching, and they used that to write the research paper. And then I had them use the same outline to summarize their paper on a slideshow. So each paragraph then became a slide, and they had to summarize it. Then this is an example from Kalualani School. This is Foursquare writing that a 3rd grade class used to research Native Americans. Other informal outlines, there are some online tools that Kalualani explained. Okay, it looks like the sound's not working very well on that. It was really quiet on mine. I don't know if you could hear it at all. Do you have any suggestions on how to fix that?
I see Kalualani up here in her picture. Could she narrate it for a second, for a moment? It was just a moment long or so.
Do you want to do that,
Is my
Kalualani?
mic on? Is my mic on?
Yes. Okay, so shall I do the next video and you can explain it as it goes?
Well, let me just, which one did you click on?
I did Digo.
Digo has online outlines that you can like drag them around, so you can put your content in there, and then if you decide to make something a subtopic, you can just grab it and drag it. The one that's in the video is actually an outline for part of this class. So I've been using it to keep me on track with what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay, so I'll click on the next one, and if there's no sound, I'll let you talk. Yeah, there's no sound.
Yeah, I was introduced to Noodle tools in my Utah Online Library class, that you can make digital index cards of your research, and then you can like pile them on the desktop. You can see there I have several piles, and then there's also an outline over on the right to help you organize your thinking before you write your report.
Okay. Then the next examples are for academic notebooks. Their data notebooks is another name for them, and they can be either hard copy or digital. My school, we use the hard copy mostly, so the students will have a notebook that has papers to fill out. These are some examples from the Leader in Me website, which we have used as a Leader in Me school, the 7 habits. These are forms that I got from a 5th grade notebook for math scores and for novels that they've read. Down along the bottom, sorry, I don't know why this keeps showing up. Down along the bottom, there's novels that they've read, and then they fill in the page numbers. There's also, oh, I forgot to show you the digital. I can go back. So this is a digital notebook from a 4th grade class. It's more slides than the students need. The teacher shares the whole slideshow with them, and then I think they pick and choose which slides they use in their slideshow. So there's places to put their wildly important goals, talking about SMART goals, their math goal, reading goal. There's also mission statements, one for the whole entire school, but it's our school. There's the class mission statement, and then a personal mission statement. And then there's lots and lots of slides that they can choose from. So that's a digital one that is used at my school. Then some more hard copies. This is from ST Math at Kalualani School, just to track scores and quizzes. Then there's the dramatic enactments and unconventional projects. These are 2 more videos that Kalualani made, so she'll get to narrate again. So the ones in the text talked about reader's theater, dramatic activities, and recorded reports, and then Kalualani had the crocheted math project.
You don't need to click on those videos.
Oh, okay.
Most of it's just the picture anyway. But the first one talks about we're a Chinese dual immersion school. So I talked to a couple of the teachers at the school, and the one teacher does Chinese, and she talked about how when they're doing their dialogues, she expects their vocal expression and also their facial expression to show that they understand the words that they are speaking, so that they can show that they know the language. And also another teacher talked about having the kids get up out of their seats and divide themselves for a math problem like division. She says put some hula hoops on the floor and let them divide a set of 12 students into 3 hula hoops. The other one on the bottom is my daughter, who in 5th grade, this was her math report. It was a math project. She did a crocheted blanket. It was her first crochet project, and she used graph paper to map it out and figure out how to deal with the diagonals and figure out the gauge, what hook would give her the gauge for the size of blanket that she wanted to do, so that you can do, unconventional things that fit with the interests of the students.
Okay, and that is everything we had to report. Our section was very short. There you go. And then I need to get back. Okay, there you go.
Awesome. Thank you, lady. That was great. Okay, Carol, you have the last one here, number 13.
Yes. So let me share my screen. Oops, let me go to the right spot here. Okay, and will you let me know about the volume?
Yeah.
Helping students reflect on their learning.
Why is it important to reflect? Reasoning. Master a learning goal. Find out what's still confused about. Knowledge comparison between students. Elaborate on the technology tools that can be used to improve effectiveness.
Reflective journals. What predictions did you make about today's lesson? Which ones were correct? Which ones were incorrect? What parts of the lesson were easy for you to understand? What parts do you still have questions about? How does today's lesson relate to yesterday's lesson? What did you do well today? What could you improve on for tomorrow? Tools for journals. Handwritten notebook, cloud-based software, Google Shipwreck, Google Drive, audio recording software, speech-to-text apps, scrapbooks, blogs.
Knowledge comparison. When students relate their current mastery of a learning goal to previous levels of mastery of that same learning goal. This can include levels of knowledge on a topic or levels of competence with a procedure. Tools. Graphic organizers, graphs, tables, diagrams, flowcharts.
Okay, I think that is all that they had.
That was great. Nice Nearpod too. That was fun. Just a couple reminders. If you haven't signed up for an element presentation yet, make sure you do that. You need to do a presentation on an element, and all the time slots are filled up, so to contact others in the group to coordinate your presentation and your contributions to it. So we don't know if you haven't signed up yet. At least I don't know, so you know if you have or not. Keep in mind you can present your element any way you want. We had a good variety today of ways you can present your element. And then once you have presented on week 11 assignment, 7-hour presentation, just make note of it that you have presented so we can give you credit for that assignment. And so it's on deck for next week, presenting elements 14, 15, and 16. So we look forward to hearing from those people on those elements right there. Any questions for any of the element presenters today? We had four good presentations today, so thank you for presenting and taking the time to do that. Really well done. So that was great. Thank you. A couple last things here. Saturday, head down to St. George, Ed Camp St. George. Enjoy the sunshine while we have snow here in other parts of the state. But there's a link there at Camp St. George. Head on down. Still have still have room available if you want to register and head down to St. George with that. Let's see how people are feeling. Let's share this. Wrong button again. Present this, and I can get what it shows here. So behind and busy. That's what we are feeling right now. It looks like. So this is still live. So people who are viewing this recording, please take a minute and tell us how you are feeling also. We can get our word cloud bigger and more words in there, or bigger words with behind and busy, because that's, I think, a lot of us are feeling those two right there. Have a great week. It should be a good week. Anyone have any questions? Anything before we let you go? Tony or Carol, anything you want to add? So thank you for being here. We appreciate your live attendance and your participation, and those who watch it. We do miss you. Join in when you can, but please do watch these and learn from one another. So, unless anything else, we'll call it good.
Keep doing those wonderful things you're doing, guys. You're doing great. Brandon, thanks so much for sending the recordings too. I appreciate that.
I will get them to you as soon as I can.
Yeah, I know.